10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk in the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Just happened to see that Facebook wants me to log in just as I went to see the monitor to check on how many people would be on the show, as I usually do, but just Facebook just decided to tell me I needed to log in again and use multi-factor backup, and they don't give you anything that makes any sense for a multi-factor. So you have to take an hour just to figure out how to do that. So we're just not going to, I guess, monitor how many people are on Facebook. Doesn't matter today. It's only a number anyways. Got your comments coming in on our studio here, so we'll be able to check that out. No problem. As we proceed with our show, we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca online. You can just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. You can download the same Radio Player Canada app and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, mainly comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. You know the routine if you've been here before. And a lot of you are on each and every day, and we really appreciate that. It's a pretty cool time to just get together with people that are interested in wanting to know a little more about what's going on in the world, very close to them in their community, Sudbury, or surrounding area, region, country, continent, world, and try to make sense of a very confusing, sometimes getting more and more confusing world that we live in. And we're really grateful for all of the people that are on that. That is their prerogative, is to find out a little bit more about, life in general. And it's just we're all kind of learning together. And we do it through the lens of news stories, news articles. And that's really, how else are you really going to know what's going on in any given moment? And we live in a world where we have technology that allows us to be able to, know something in real time, like the Pope passing away. We know it instantaneously. Back in the day, it would have taken days, weeks, months to find out news like that. But today it's instant. You know it as it's happening. And so information and the gathering of it and the dissemination of it and the sharing of it has totally changed. It's evolving. And what we do here is we just basically converse about it. We share our views on the news. We have a conversation on a radio station, which is very unique. And we take people's questions and comments, and basically we just have a conversation around the news, and we try to find out the real deal, what's going on. We basically try and take away the layers of the onion, so to speak, to get to the bottom of things. And it's a wonderful thing to do each and every morning. It's a really great way to start your day. And with that, let's just get started. We got just interesting interesting headlines here coming in, because we have a federal election coming up, and we have, speaking of information and news and things. We've been really looking at our media in Canada, and people don't seem to be able to trust the media, and that's, hang on, maybe I can get this a different way here to get on our Facebook. But yeah, people don't seem to trust the media anymore. That's common knowledge. Like that's a fact. People don't trust media. We're not sure why. Okay, so hang on one second. Aaron, is this you trying to log in? Yes, it's me. Okay. You approved a login. Oh, good. Okay, something's going on over here. So now finish a new device. A new device. That device has been on this account for I don't know how long. That computer is older than me almost. So technology is weird, right? We don't know these big tech conglomerates, what they're up to half the time and what goes on. But now it's saying I can't log in again. Okay, so whatever. I already approved it. So you're a new device, you say. So let's see if you're going to allow me to log in now that I approved it on my other device. Okay, there we go. So now let's start this all over again. While we do that, though, let's just head into some weather. I can do this on the fly while we got the show going on. And we'll check in with weather. We'll do news headlines, your comments, and more when we come back right after this. And weather brought to you by Voyager Tire. Voyager Tire, you can go in and see them at the intersection of Kingsway, 2nd Ave, Falcon Bridge. Let them know we sent you. You get a 10% discount. Hey, spring is here. It's a good time to get your tires changed. But I don't know. They're going to be pretty backed up. Get in there as fast as you can. 3 degrees currently. It's cloudy. Today there's going to be showers ending in the morning. Then a mix of sun and cloud. Risk of thunderstorm this morning. High of 16. Yes, it's going to be quite warm. Tonight, partly cloudy, becoming cloudy near midnight. 40% chance of showers before morning. Fog patches developing overnight. Low of +3 Friday, cloudy. 40% chance of showers early in the morning. Rain beginning in the morning. Fog patches dissipating in the morning. Amount of rain 10 to 15 millimeters. And a high of 8. In the morning, that is. Okay. Just everything's all kind of wonky here online this morning as well. I don't know what's going on with technology, but something's going on the internet. Okay, extended forecast. So tomorrow, periods of rain, high of 7. Sunday, high of 16, sunny. 14 with a chance of showers, 30% chance of showers on Monday. Tuesday is 15 periods of rain, 12 degrees and sunny on Wednesday, 13 degrees and cloudy on Thursday. I look at your satellite as of 5 a.m. this morning. You can see that clouds everywhere, but the precipitation all the way from Wisconsin, Minnesota, coming all through the upper peninsula of Michigan, all the way over Sudbury and area, with clouds everywhere else. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Voyager Tire. And we'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, and we're back. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Got a couple comments in. We got a great show planned for you. We'll have maybe a couple stories. Oh my goodness, this is Facebook is just the weirdest today. It's changed its look. It changed everything. That's weird. All of the proportions of the videos are different and everything. So yeah, they must have did some kind of update, and then they don't tell you that, and they just log you out and say, "This is a new device." Okay, and another thing, they have many ways of telling how many followers you have. Like you can get it through your dashboard. You can get it just right on the main webpage and get it on your phone. Every indication of how many followers Sudbury News has are all different across the different ways Facebook tells you how many followers you have. And so that tells you something, right? It just tells you, just not grabbing data from one place. Okay, someone follows you, and it updates how many followers you have over these different places to find it out. So obviously they're messing with different pages, and they're trying to, obviously something's wrong. How about that? How about something just is wrong and we're not sure what it is? Okay. So Nana, good morning to you. Blessings to all. Heart emoji. Judy on Facebook, good morning to you. Mary Ann, good morning. Sudbury, liked and shared as usual. Good morning, Hazel. Prayer emoji. Thanks for that, and same to you. And good morning from Barry. Oh, Monique was good morning with the rain emoji. And then Mary Ann is from Barry, hand clap emoji. Miles is on quite early this morning. Usually you join us a little later, Miles, so you're up nice and early today. And Larry, good morning, y'all. Good morning to you as well. Denise, blessings, everyone. Heart emoji. Liette, good morning. Hand clap from Collingwood. Good morning to you, Liette. And Vin as well, good morning to you. As well as, so Larry says, so what's with the flag beside my name? I do not know. I'm going to go up and see. No, I don't see a flag beside your name, so not sure what's showing on your end. Let's see here. 15 in attendance so far. Oh, yeah, you're giving me it's now 20, that's usually the way it goes. People come on in increments as the show goes on. Rick, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Everyone get out and vote on Monday. A lot of emojis there. Peace signs, Canada, flags, blue hearts. So yeah, voting is coming up. We'll have more on that, and maybe just try and inform everyone to make the best decision of who you should vote for. Lorraine, gosh, and good morning to you. It took me 10 minutes to find your show this morning. Facebook censoring much? Okay, yeah, we've been having Facebook-y things this morning as well, so not sure what's going on. I just don't know. I'm not going to speculate. You're saying it's hard to get on. I'm talking about all the issues I'm having. Maybe they just don't have enough people working there to fix certain issues. I am being flagged for something I said. Oh, I see what you mean. You're being flagged for something you said. Now, we have something we've installed as a automatic monitoring feature on our comments, and that's if anyone swears, it monitors them, and that's it. It moderates that. Because we just want to keep it clean. So other than that, I'm not sure why you were flagged. So Facebook people, thanks for your platform. We really appreciate all the hard work that you guys do over there. And we would hope that, you're just making a platform where everyone has the equal opportunity. Speaking of equity, everyone has the equal opportunity to utilize your platform just as much as anyone else. So we really appreciate that. So Miles Carney is showing his climate colors as he promoted his new $20,000 tax to new fuel-powered vehicles. For sure, he said he's taking away the consumer tax, but he's just going to implement it back, but put it on the companies instead, which will then just come right back to us anyways, because he's making it more expensive for companies to produce. So then they have to pass on those expenses to the consumers. So we might even see higher increases than the consumer carbon tax. It's just a hidden one. All right, Vin. Oh, it's the same with YouTube as well. Hard to get the show. Yeah, it doesn't notify people like it used to, for sure. Not sure why. Maybe they're not making enough money and they can't afford ways to continue with their features to function the way that they should. We're not sure. We can only speculate. Pat, good morning, people, earthlings. Peace sign emoji, smiley emoji. Denise says, it means you're a follower that flags. Sorry, you're a follower that flag. That's what it means. It's not bad. Oh, it means you're a follower. Interesting. I'm not even sure. I'm not sure what that means. So thanks, Denise, for that. David, good morning to you. Stay safe as well. Take care. Stay safe. Your mantra. Nancy, good morning to you as well. And thanks for the mic, by the way. It'll come in handy at some point. Andrew, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Belinda, good morning. Sometimes it's a difference of opinion, and sometimes it's a difference of morals. Heart emojis. Yeah, that's true. That's a very deep statement. Sometimes it's a difference of opinions, and sometimes it's a difference of morals. And that's where your opinions probably stem from, is your ethics and your morals. It's your core values, right? So it's your lens, it's your worldview through what you kind of think is important. Yeah, we kind of all have our own moral standards. And we see that every day. And sometimes, I like the idea that everyone is free to have their own. I don't like the idea that certain people who have certain morals want to impose them on other people and force them to live that way. Yeah, that's enough said about that. But thanks for that, Belinda. Much appreciated. So Miles says, David Cochran is a lying scumbag. Okay, wow. Tell us how you really feel, Miles. Don't hold back. Don't beat around the bush. So David Cochran, dude on CBC TV, CBC Broadcast Network. We'll talk a little bit more about CBC coming up in the show, so stay tuned for that. Good morning, humans. That's Northern Hillbilly. Love the handle. And Marianne says, gotta love what they do. That's social media platforms, yeah, for sure. Not sure why they do what they do or how it works, but it is what it is. And good morning, Nickel City Patriots. This is Brian. In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man, a brave and a hated and scorned one. When his cause succeed, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. Well, that is a loaded statement, Brian, and it's so true. All you got to do is, you look at some of these leaders in history that have, changed our world for good, and that's so true. The brave, the people who are willing to stand up for things that are valuable to the common person and benefit people, while others just go along with the status quo, no matter what it is. And when that person is able to be victorious and prove their point, then everyone kind of says, no, that's right. But they weren't willing to pay the price that person was to stand up for the things that they stood up for. History is riddled with that, proving that point. Brian, thank you very much for that. So Northern Hillbilly says, get food, water, all tangibles. Tough times are coming. And we'll have more on that, about that paper that was published. And speaking of that, maybe let me get back to some of what that was, right? So the whatever department. So the Privy Council of Canada published the paper. I think Miles showed me that paper a week and a half ago when it first came out. And now people have read it, and they're doing commentary on it of what it actually is saying. That Canada, so the Privy Council of Canada is different from the Prime Minister's office, but it's it's the King's Privy Council is what it is. It's a body of advisors to the Governor General, acting on the advice of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's office and the Privy Council office work together, but they're distinct entities. The Privy Council office, the PCO, provides policy-oriented, nonpartisan advice and support, while the Prime Minister's office, the PMO, is politically orientated and policy sensitive. So one is supposed to be unbiased, and the other one is obviously whoever the Prime Minister is going to be biased because of their party. They're not They're going to be partisan, not non-partisan. All these political terms, right? You hear sometimes for the first time or only when there's elections coming around. But the PCO, the Privy Council of Canada, or the Privy Council office, made a report that said if we're continuing to go down the road that we're going on, and we'll get more into that. But anyways, it's doom and gloom. It's basically going to be, like all these dystopian movies where the economy collapses and we go back to foraging and fishing and things like that in order to feed our families. It's pretty dark. So that's what this election is all about, really. And we'll get to that. That's one of our deep dive stories. I just want to check in, make sure we got everybody here. So yeah, let's just dive in with the stories of the day. Let's start off with checking in with our news aggregator, Sudbury.news, and this caught my eye right away. And it's, how all the rage with the liberal campaign is we have to fight against Trump. Trump is the boogeyman. This coming out of Sudbury.com, China says it wants to partner with Canada to push back against America's bullying. And I could have 6 or 7 different clips from Mark Carney talking about and good morning, Mark. Thanks for being on. Haven't seen you on the show before, or it's been a while, and you used to be on the show with me at CKLU. Thanks for joining in. You'll really love the show today. China says it wants to partner with Canada to push back against American bullying, and I know that this has been a plan all along. China has been infiltrating Canada, the foreign interference thing, the Chinese consulates that we have in our major cities where they police their citizens on Canadian soil, which should actually be illegal, but it's allowed. We have the Chinese candidates that are for varying parties that, some of them have affiliations with Chinese Communist Party. One of the Chinese candidates for the Liberal Party had to resign just recently because he said, hey, the Conservative candidate is wanted in China and there's a bounty out for him. Hey, you should go and pick him up and send him over there and you'll get rewarded financially for it. So he had to resign. So China's been in Canada, a huge Chinese influence with our fentanyl. We have Chinese gangs that are producing fentanyl by the truckloads and then bringing it into Canada. And good morning, Sylvia. Thanks for being on. And also, Perry, good morning to you. A lot of people joining us this morning. It's going to be a great discussion. So as you can see, China here from the Sudbury.com article, they want to partner with us. They want to join with us to take on the United States, which has been the plan all along. And again, Mark Carney just took out a $250 million loan for his company with China just recently, right? And he's been on the record, and you can go and find this out, that he really appreciates and likes the Chinese model. And just like my chair at university said, China is the model for Canada. The academics have known this for years, that Marxism, what they teach in university, is the way to go. Communism, that's what we want. And they teach all of our young people that communism, capitalism, it's the boogeyman. It's the thing we need to, you can hear it all over in our mainstream discussions that capitalism is the devil. And so that's being taught. So now China coming right out and saying, yeah, they want to partner with Canada. China's ambassador saying Beijing is offering to form a partnership with Canada to push back against American bullying, suggesting the two countries could rally together or rally other nations to stop Washington from undermining global rules. Global rules, right? So we do know that the world has been in process of forming a world government, a global government, a new world order for years. George Bush Sr. announced it in his State of the Union address in the 80s or early 90s. 1,000 points of light speech. He said, and now we can see a new world order coming into view, right? where the law of the jungle is no longer, the norm. Okay, Diane, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. So yeah, so this is, from Sudbury.com. I'm not making that up. It's not a conspiracy theory that China now is just blatantly coming out and saying, "Hey, Canada, let's get together and let's rally other countries. Let's all gang up on the United States, right? Let's all do this together." So again, planned for many, many years. Many insiders in the United States have been involved in this movement as well to bring down the very country that was their nation they were born in and pledged allegiance to and treated them very well, as far as I'm concerned. But they, working from the inside, have been working to align with China to take them down for many, many, many years. So here you have Canada. We have an election. We have a prime minister, a sitting interim prime minister who has huge ties with China. The WEF, global governance, saying that the new social credit system is the way to go that China has, where if you do something bad, you don't help an elderly lady across the road and they see you on the cameras, you lose demerit points. You actually lose money out of your bank account. Or you can't fly a certain day. Oh, you go to fly somewhere and they're like, "Oh, sorry, you can't get on the plane because you made a Facebook post that is against the government. So sorry, you can't fly today." So that's what Mark Carney is all about. That's the kind of Canada he envisions, the same as China. To me, scary, but that's just my own personal opinion. But he's come out and just said that his budget, he's going to be spend. He's going to spend more than Trudeau, as Trudeau doubled our national debt from $600 million to doubling that into the trillions of dollars. He's doubled our debt. It's taken us all the time from the beginning of the country all the way up to Trudeau to accumulate $600 million debt. But Trudeau himself single-handedly doubled that in 10 years. And now Mark Carney wants to spend even more than Trudeau. And so that report is so important, saying if we keep going down this road, the Privy Council's report saying we're going to be basically living, in a collapsed economy and having to, go back to the 1800s or even before that, to just go out and fish off the land, hunt and survive however you can with no, structure of a country. We'll get to that. But first, the spending of proposal from Brian Lilly, reporter for the Toronto Sun, talking about Carney's budget that he's proposing.
Mark Carney's arrogance knows no bounds. Hi, I'm Brian Lilly, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. The Liberal leader was being questioned on his platform release, the one that's going to increase deficit spending by $130 billion above and beyond Justin Trudeau's insane and reckless spending. Some economists like Trevor Toome from the University of Calgary have said this is not sustainable. Well, Carney was asked about that, and he was dismissive of one of the preeminent economists in Canadian academia. Listen to him.
Trevor Toome a tort, d'après vous?
Ah, évidemment. Oui, c'est facile. Hein. Moi, j'ai plus d'expérience que lui. Il faut le dire.
Barry with CBC. I'd like to follow up on that. Just if you've got an economist like Trevor Toome saying that your plan is unsustainable, is just that. Is there an argument that if Pierre Poilievre is trying to bring down spending, bring down the deficit, that his plan is more fiscally responsible than yours?
Okay. There's one thing that you can write on a paper. There's another thing that will happen in the economy. Okay? So our plan, to be clear, is focused on investment and growing this economy. All of the spending, all of the investment in years 3 and 4 are for growing the economy.
So Carney is just outright dismissive of Toome when he's speaking in French. Then he goes on to be aggressive with Tom Perry from CBC, one of the most reasonable journalists and reporters you'll ever meet. Didn't even want him to finish his question. That is how Carney is reacting to the media and anyone who is critical of him. This guy is not used to being criticized. He's not used to being questioned, and he doesn't like it. Can you imagine what he's going to be like if he wins the election and becomes prime minister? It will be insufferable. This is a man who thinks he can do no wrong, a man who is not used to being challenged, and a man who will not fare well in the political climate. But it's up to Canadians. You've got a choice. You have a chance to vote. You can choose to keep going down this poorly executed economic plan that Carney wants to continue from Justin Trudeau, or you can choose change. It's up to you, and Canadians will, at the end of the day, get the government they vote for, and in some ways, the government they deserve. Let me know.
Yeah, so he was basically saying, let me know in the comments what you think, for his social media, for his YouTube page. So yeah, so again, that's Mark Carney. He's going to be doing more of the same, just spending. But what is he spending? Like, he's spending tax dollars, and then he's borrowing money, and he's printing more money. So all of that means super huge inflation. So again, the Privy Council, which is the Prime Minister's Privy Council, is part of a broader King's Privy Council for Canada, which is a body of advisors to the Governor General acting on the advice of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's office and Privy Council office work together, but they're distinct entities. So the Privy Council office did a report, and this is Viva Fry. He's a lawyer from Montreal, now living in the United States, talking about this report that they put out. And I know Miles has read this, and it's basically talking about us going into a dystopian kind of future where the economy is bankrupt and we have to go out and hunt and fish on our own and stuff. Anyways, we'll just let him explain it.
Go to the government website. Government of Canada put out this report. It's at horizons.service.canada.ca. Policy Horizons Canada. Future lives, social mobility in question. This is from, at least it's published on January 7th, 2025. The section that Pierre didn't mention in that intro video, where he's questioning, why isn't this on the headlines? It's an amazing thing, eh? Why wouldn't it be blazing across Canadian headlines of a liberal-funded Canadian media, captured media? Why wouldn't the Canadian government put that on blast? This is what's in the report, and I'm reading it from the report. Section 3.4, people might find alternative ways to meet their basic needs. Bullet 1, housing, food, childcare, and healthcare cooperatives may become more common. This could ease burdens on social services, but also challenge market-based businesses. Bullet 2, forms of person-to-person exchange of goods and services could become even more popular, reducing tax revenues and consumer safety. I really don't think they care about consumer safety when you're bartering goods. They just care about what they can tax and what they can't tax to continue to fund that massive bloated government machine. But that's not the best of it. This is absolutely the best of it. People may start to hunt, fish, and forage on public lands and waterways without reference to regulations. Small-scale agriculture could increase. Governments may come to seem irrelevant if they cannot enforce basic regulations or if people increasingly rely on grassroots solutions to meet basic needs. God forbid people should no longer be reliant on the government, but go back to bullet 3. People may start to hunt, fish, forage on public lands and waterways without reference to regulations. We're going to come back to the without reference to regulations. What does this mean? In the dystopian hellscape that is being predicted by the Canadian government itself, Canadians, or maybe not Canadians, might be reduced to foraging for subsistence. Literally. You might have to go out there and eat the bugs, eat the squirrels, go out and get fish out of Beaver Lake if you're up in Canada. Goldfish, they're kind of disgusting. Mash them up into balls. You got gefilte fish. Canadians might, as a result of the lack of upward mobility, the economic drain, the brain drain, the lack of government financing, where government's not going to have the resources to provide the infrastructure of whatever it's supposed to give you, Canadians might be reduced to literally foraging public waterways, public parks for food. Why isn't it blazing on the airwaves, the headlines, Pierre? Maybe because the Canadian media might be a little bit beholden to that Liberal government that promised to double their funding. But maybe it's not blazing on the headlines because, I don't know, a prime minister candidate is not on every podcast on earth, putting on blast the fact that in Canada, they are forecasting that in the not so distant Liberal dystopian future, Canadians might be reduced to foraging for your existence. Maybe it's not in the headlines because you haven't put it there. Maybe you should get out there and put it in the headlines. Podcasts, interviews, put it on Blaze. Otherwise, we'll do the work for you, Pierre. But by the way, what they probably mean by this, without reference to regulations, I mean, that's a very interesting caveat. Without reference to regulations. They're not even describing the future, people. They're describing the present. Because what happens when you open your borders to foreigners who don't necessarily assimilate, who don't necessarily acclimatize to Canadian regulation, who don't necessarily know that you can't just go into rivers and fish. You can't just go into rivers and fish with nets. We have a foraging problem in the present in Canada, and it results from the fact that 97+% of Canada's population growth has come from immigration. Poorly vetted, open border immigration. These videos went viral last year, and I remember these things. This is from Pleb the Reporter back in the day. This was going on last year when videos of new arrivals to Canada were out there poaching animals, fishing illegally, with no regard for Canadian regulations as relates to fishing in particular. Here's one. We'll go do a couple. Remember, people, in the future, Canadians might be resorting to foraging. For now, it's only the foreigners that have been graciously admitted into Canadian society. 97+% of population growth in Canada comes from immigration. 500,000 a year under the Liberal government. To be reduced to 250,000 under a future Conservative government, which is looking less and less likely. Do you understand, by the way, how bad it is? Because what I believe is happening here is that these are spawning salmon. Yeah, that's definitely a spawning salmon. There's regulation that exists to protect the spawning salmon because it's the most vulnerable. When it spawns, it's at its most vulnerable. But it's not just one video. Look at this one. This is last year.
You guys know that's very illegal, eh?
Netting.
You guys know this is very illegal, what you guys are doing? What's your guys' names?
Yeah, they're gonna tell you their names.
You're netting fish, yeah. You're netting fish, which is extremely illegal. What's your guys' names?
They're not gonna give you their names. Where was this one? This is from Sean Rickard, Bowmanville Creek in Ontario, Canada, yesterday, just down the highway from me. And this is from
you guys know
September
that's very
2024.
illegal,
As we're getting reports that in the future, Canadians might have to. For now, it's only the newly arrived immigrants after we've opened our border who are, without reference to regulations, pillaging Mother Nature. Why isn't it all over the news? Well, it's a good question. Toronto Sun is reporting on it. Joe Warmington, by the way, is one of the few legacy media reporters who's seen the light. I've watched his evolution in real time. It's fantastic. Why aren't anybody else reporting on this? Did they report on it at the time? Nope. Are they reporting on it now? Nope. Why? Well, because Carney's going to double their salaries. Why? Because they need Carney to get into power in order to keep their jobs. That's how the Liberal government is ensuring that they win this election. Says Warmington. Pierre Poilievre addresses dystopia predicted for Canada in government report. The Conservative leader said Canada must make a change if it wants to avoid a dark future of a hellscape where people will have nothing. Sorry, it's kind of the present, actually. These Hunger Games will not be fiction or a movie. This will be the kind of real starvation and quest for survival, a dystopia that Prime Minister Mark Carney's own Privy Council office warns could be possible just 15 years from now as the country slides into the abyss. Canadians will not be able to say they were not warned about a possible economic apocalypse that may have them hunting for rabbits and squirrels in parks to feed their families. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has warned them. If the goal were to put it on blast, Pierre, you go on Gad Sad, you put it on blast. You go on Gad Sad to do it. Gad Sad's quite good friends with Joe Rogan, been on his show 11 times. It probably gets to Joe Rogan's ear, and it probably gets on national blast. But take your time. Take your time. The election's Monday.
So you can tell he's pretty upset with Pierre Poilievre not getting out there and letting people know about this report more than he has, right? Like he's saying he really needs to really kind of push this thing other than just say it in a rally or whatever, right? But here's, again, he makes accusations against the CBC, right? He says, just like Justin Trudeau, as we've heard say
sometimes
this,
hear
right?
about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million.
Right? So we heard that before on the show, and we'll hear it again, probably. I'm just trying to look for the videos that I've had lined up here. So the CBC, Mark Carney says he's going to, give them another $150 million. And so they have to report on that, right? So can you imagine being the very outlet, that has to report on the fact that your news outlet's going to get 150. Now you got to spin that for the people, right? So here's them reporting on that. It's a 2-minute and 19-second report, but I'm just going to take the middle part of it for now.
CBC received an estimated $1.38 billion in 2024 and 2025. Carney's initial pledge of $150 million more dollars would come with future increases and statutory funding, meaning any changes would have to be approved by Parliament, not just the cabinet of the day. It would also mean enlarging CBC and Radio-Canada's mandate to include more local programming, especially during emergencies. Researchers say that aligns with what recent polling suggests, that most Canadians support the public broadcaster.
Oh, so most Canadians support the public broadcaster. And you can see how they said, well, he's saying that he's going to give us $150 million, but that comes with, we have to make sure we do more local journalism. We got to cover emergencies. Obviously, people want that, right? We need more local journalism. And it's got to be approved, so it's not going to go through it's not just he can't just tell us he's giving the money and we get it. And besides, most Canadians, they agree with it. They agree with the CBC. So I, just recently discovered or whatever, went back to the polling that our good friends at Sudbury.com do. And they actually asked this question a little bit ago. They said, do you agree with Pierre Poilievre wanting to defund the CBC, and I'm picturing, well, they're not gonna, it's Sudbury. They're obviously, they don't want the CBC to be defunded, right? But what ended up happening? They did. So you have Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre argues for taking public funds away from the CBC. Do you agree? Well, 51.5 almost % of Sudburyans do agree, opposed to 48.5. So most of Sudbury, according to this Sudbury.com poll, agree with taking funds away from the CBC. But did you hear what they said in that report? Here's what they said.
Canadians support the public broadcaster.
Oh, I almost got back right to the beginning because I don't have a technical guy, but here you go.
Canadians support the public
broadcaster.
Yeah. What recent polling suggests, that most Canadians support the public broadcaster.
See, so most Canadians support the public broadcaster because recent polls suggest. That's the kind of reporting you get from the CBC. They say, well, most Canadians, I've heard that on CTV as well, most Canadians think like this, or many Canadians think this. Some polls suggest, and that's news these days. They're allowed to say that. And then they accuse people like independent media of spreading misinformation all the time. So I just basically took a CBC article saying most Canadians agree that they need more funding. Can you imagine that? Most Canadians agree they need more than $1.4 billion in funding. And their executives get millions and millions of dollars in bonuses from your tax dollars. Meanwhile, their listenership and their viewership decline. They get very few views on their news. People lost trust in the CBC. The only reason they listen to it because it's the only talk radio available in their car, and there's local news there. Less and less local news if they've amalgamated. I feel sorry for all these northern communities that have to hear Sudbury-centric CBC all the time. Nothing about their local communities, when they could have people like myself making nothing, delivering actual news in their communities. If the government just had a program where they'd pay for the expenses, you probably have volunteers going in, just tell them, look, this is the way you do news. You have to cover it this way. You got to find all the facts, and let's have volunteers come in and do it. You would be able to have really great coverage in all of these outlining areas and stuff. You don't need $1.4 billion with another $150 million earmarked for them. It's bloated. It's not accountable to taxpayers, and they don't even give you real news, as we've shown this whole week. It's very one-sided. Someone said in a comment, I was commenting yesterday because I shared the poll from Sudbury.com, and it got people all fired up on the right side because it shows that the Conservatives are ahead in Sudbury, and people all triggered on the other side saying that's a fake poll. This is the real poll showing us the nanos polls and things like that, which only poll seniors, right? Like, we know that because they phone people. That's the way they get their information. They're phoning people on landlines. Who has landlines? First of all, seniors. And who are home? Seniors. And who answers the landline when they don't know who it is? Seniors. And who takes the time to take polls? Seniors. That's it. That's what those polls are from. So the polls should just come out and say, seniors in this country are more going to vote for the Liberals. That's pretty much what those polls say, the mainstream polls, because that's all they're polling. They're polling seniors. Ask yourself, did you get a call? And if you did, would you answer a poll? So when I get a call during the day or even in the evening and I'm younger, I'm busy. I got small kids. I got a job. I got things I'm busy doing. So I don't have time to take a poll. And I'm just like, whatever. I'm going to vote the way I'm going to vote anyways. I don't even trust these polls. I don't even know what's going on with this information. Are they taking the data and storing it somewhere? And it's going to go against me if I tell them I'm voting Conservative, which, Conservatives have been targeted recently. We have PPC candidate here in Sudbury who lost his job. Nick Bondaroff. He lost his job because he's running for a political party. Political persecution in Canada. Alive and well, right here in Sudbury. And then I heard his name wasn't even on the ballot to begin with. So he lost his job for nothing. So how is that? And then another PPC candidate in BC, the bank account was frozen. So don't tell me that doesn't take place in Canada. Don't tell me Conservatives aren't targeted. So why would I say on a poll that I'm going to vote for Conservatives? Who has power behind that poll to do something, or that information goes to someone, which is really terrible. And people should be standing up for that, because sure, it's for Conservatives now, but it's for you later. So if you let it happen to Conservatives now, you're all, oh, good, the Conservatives, yeah, they have fringe point of views and things. They need to be canceled. Good on them. Well, it's coming for you next. You think like that, I'm telling you, Don Cherry was first, but look how many people were fired right after him. People from the CBC even canceled, mainstream reporters canceled, jobs just taken away because they said something they shouldn't have said, because Don Cherry was allowed to be fired for something he said, and he was just encouraging people to wear a poppy, for crying out loud. He said it in his own way, including people who are new to the country, which he just wanted them to know what made Canada so great. And remember, what did we say? Lest we forget. He just didn't want people to forget. And if they don't forget, he didn't want them to know what we're not forgetting in the first place by wearing a poppy. And he noticed no one was wearing one. And he got fired for that. We allowed it. We allowed that. And then it came for CBC reporters later. So that's what I'm talking about. You want to live in this kind of country? Vote for the party that wants that type of world. That's all I got to say. Thanks for being on with us today. Really appreciate everybody. We'll be back same time, same place, on the same platforms, God willing, tomorrow. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao, everyone.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.